Welcome to CSE Guru. In the previous session, we have discussed about the process scheduling. And in this session, we will discuss about the scheduling criteria. Scheduling is nothing but assigning a process to the CPU for execution. That is done by the CPU scheduler. There are different scheduling algorithms available and each algorithm will have different properties. So, the choice of the algorithm will favor a particular process over the other. So, before knowing the scheduling algorithms, we should know the criteria to be considered. The criteria includes CPU utilization, throughput, turnaround time, waiting time, and response time. So first is CPU utilization. The main aim of the operating system is, however possible, keep the CPU busy all the time. That is, it has to execute more number of processes in less number of time so that it will increase the efficiency of the computer. So CPU utilization will range from 0 to 100%. And for a real-time system, and if it is a lightly loaded system, the CPU utilization will be 40%. And if it is a heavily loaded system, CPU utilization will be 90%. And if it is a 90%, this heavily loaded system will have a higher utilization compared to the lightly loaded system. Next, throughput. Throughput is nothing but the number of process completed per unit of time. And if it is a long process, even it will take 1 hour to complete its execution. And if it is a short process, it will execute 10 process per second. So if you are considering, the short process will have a higher throughput compared to the long process. Next, turnaround time. The turnaround time is nothing but the time taken by the process to complete its execution and enter into the termination state. So it is the interval time between process submission and the process completion. It includes the waiting time also, that is the time spent in waiting to get memory, waiting in the ready queue, executing with the CPU, and servicing with the IO devices. So all the time it will include. That is the time between the process submission until it completes its execution. That is nothing but the turnaround time. And waiting time is nothing but the total time spent in the ready queue. The process, if you are considering, initially it will be in the ready queue, and once it gets the CPU, it will execute with the CPU. Whenever an interrupt occurs, it will switch from the running state to the ready state. So that time it will wait in the ready queue. Also, whenever a process is running with the CPU and it needs to be serviced for IO request, that time a process will switch from running state to the waiting state. And once the IO service request is completed, it will enter into the ready queue. And till it gets the CPU, it will wait in the ready queue. So that time is also included here. So waiting time is nothing but the total time spent waiting in the ready queue. Next, response time. It is the measure of time from the submission of the process request until it gets the first response or first assigned to the CPU. So that is considered as the response time. So it is a measure of time from the submission of the process request until it gets the first response from the CPU. So whenever a process needs to execute with the CPU, and the CPU scheduler has to choose the process and assign to the CPU for execution. So before assigning to the CPU for execution, the CPU scheduler should consider all the scheduling criteria to choose a process and execute with the CPU. Thank you for watching this video.